I think we're here. How you doing? This is The Remedy. Hi, I'm your host, Tony Pantelleresco. And you're listening to us live on the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network. You can access the show by typing in www.themicroeffect.com and listen, click on the appropriate links, the chat room links. Come on in, make friends, get acquainted, save the planet, brainstorm, cooperate, because I think it's going to take a cooperative to get the job done. What do you think? I'm also published at several different sites: ByeByeBlueSky.com, GagCanada.com, Brian396.com, and throughout the internet, if you type in my name or whatever, you may find me somewhere, someplace, somehow, being a free radical. Anyway, I want to get into the show today. I've had so many things come to me today. The other day we were talking about some of the things that we've been hearing and some of the propaganda that we've heard all our lives, and how we have to basically deprogram ourselves from a lot of the nonsense that we have we've been taught. And I mentioned a TV series back in the 70s or maybe 80s. I think it was 70s. Leonard Nimoy in Search Of. And so I've had several people from all over trying to find this video. I had a woman from England, from the United Kingdom, send me a link. She gave me something, but it wasn't it. It was the fluff. It was another take he did. But anyway, it's one of those things that you're going to need a toroidal field with an electromagnetic machine deep down into the quantum realm in order to find this, I think, because they buried this hard. But what I did get, somebody sent me an article tying the United Kingdom into conspiracy of attacking Pearl Harbor. It wasn't the Japanese like everybody thinks, and we have to really look at that history to really see the truth of what went on and how things were manipulated in that era of time, and corroborate what's going on in today's era of time. And we may find there are a lot of similarities to a lot of the games that have been played, a lot of the games that are being played right now, a lot of the so-called information we're gathering. I'm going to give you guys a couple links. I already sent it out to some. This link, I will tell you this. I'm going to give you a heads up on this. This link is going to scare the blazes out of you. I'm not going to pull any punches on it. This is going to tell you. We'll put it in the chat room. So if you're in the chat room, you can click on the link. I'll see if I can find it again. You might want, if you're not in the chat room, this is something you can go look up on the YouTube. Living fibers fall from the sky onto our food and families via aerosol attack. Let me repeat that. Living fibers fall from the sky onto our food and families via aerosol attack. Everything I've been telling you about nano and nanobiotech, nanobiology, synthetic biology. Well, the Germans got a hold of this video, which came from the United States, and when you see it, you are going to be extremely alarmed to see the nonsense that we're being perpetrated about our food safety. If anybody still thinks today, in this time frame, in this era of time, that the USDA means anything today, you are strongly deluded. I mean, as George Carlin? Comedian, I forget it, George Carl something, anyway. As he stated, in order to believe this, you'd have to be asleep to believe it. You would have to be asleep to believe that the government officials, the government institutions today, and it's not just the United States, don't get me wrong, I'm not picking on America. I'm not picking on Americans either. Let me distinguish something right now. America and the United States of America are two different entities. The American public are one thing, and the system that's running that country or the government is a whole entirely different thing. People generally don't want to start wars. People don't want to go invade other countries. People don't want to really be bothered with anything except trying to, get by in this life, trying to find some sort of joy if they can and trying to live. And Americans are no different than Canadians or Europeans or anybody else in the world. It's just so that everyone gets this clear, that I'm not picking on American people or the American public. What I'm pointing out is the institutions that are running the nut house are nuts themselves. And we have the same problems in Canada, they have the same problems in Europe, they have the same problems in the Middle East, they have the same problems in Asia, they have the same problems in Russia. This is not something that is isolated. Anybody thinks that some other country may be better, it's not that other countries may be better. People are maybe more genuine, or maybe not have as much damage, but in general, this is a global invasion. This is a global invasion. And we better start thinking in terms of an invasion, because this is what's really going on. Okay? Nobody that has God's creative spirit in them, God created us all, would seek to violate anybody on the level of violation that's going on right now. And when you see this video, you're going to get a grasp, and some of you are going to be shocked. But again, you need it, some of you. You need to be shocked. You need to get out of that, TV mentality, that Walt Disney, fantasy, that program that's running in your head. And this is not the first time this has happened. This has also happened down in Australia. This has also happened in New Zealand. There have been people that have been putting on YouTube for years about how they've seen these fibers and everything being dropped out of the sky. And it just so happens that now the invasion is becoming more and more pronounced in the United States. It's also happening in Canada as well. So if you're in Canada and you think that we're safe here in Canada, you have to be asleep to believe it. You would have to be asleep to believe it. We are not any safer than any place else. Everybody is getting this. Okay, and when you sit and think about, and again, I'm one of those guys that I do believe in God, I do believe in Jesus, I do believe in the biblical truths, and when I start looking in the biblical references of how some things seem to be coming from out in space. Somebody mentioned something to me the other day, and again, it was interesting perspective. I had no way of validating it or proving it to anybody, but it was a perspective that in the book of Daniel, Michael said it took him 3 weeks because the king of Persia was slowing him down. How does a king of Persia slow down an angel? Unless they were referring to something more alien in nature, a war going on. Some might believe it's a spiritual war, some might believe it's something else. But I take the mindset now, things are not always spiritual. Sometimes they are what they are. There's a manifestation going on. There is a war going on, and I do believe that war that they were talking about is going on right now and has been for quite some time, up beyond our heavens, into space. Some may think that's a little far-fetched, but the more you dig and the more you research and the more you begin to see the technologies and everything going on, CERN, quantum computers and everything else, this is not something that should be here. And it did come from someplace else. So again, I want to inform everybody about this because again, this is something that if anything will provoke you to thinking. You may not agree with it, and that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. Again, you may not be at that level of research yet, but I think personally that once you get to that level of research, you're going to see things in a whole different light. When we're looking at some of the things that we are exposed to today, why are the safety components in the government agencies like the Health Protection Branch in Canada, the USDA in the United States, the FDA across the planet, why are they allowing this kind of invading assault on mankind's DNA? See, this kind of technology is designed to wipe out a population, to wipe out the current systems that are here. And it's not the first time this has happened. If you look throughout history, anytime a civilization has reached a certain technological advancement or reach a certain level of development, they got taken out. And it seems to be a consistent pattern, that we have been violated time and time and time again. This is when people talk to me about aliens and all these things. My understanding is, there's no such thing as a good alien. Every time we've had an alien presence on this planet has never bode well for us. And again, you can define alien any way you like. Demons, fallen angels, whatever, however way you want to define it. My point is, you need to look at this stuff, and I'm going to show you another interesting video. I'm going to put it in the chat room. It's called Part 1 of 2, Chemtrails, Rods, Orbs, and Morgellons, Paranormal Secrets of Alien Nature and Light Matter. Now, some of you might think this is a New Age thing. Get over it. Some of the New Age stuff isn't New Age. Some of the New Age stuff is actually repetitive history being replayed again. So anyway, I'm going to put the link in the chat room for those of you in the chat room. So you guys get the advantage. You get this stuff directly handed to you. And so then again, you can do whatever you want with the information. But you need to understand things ain't what they used to be. And I've said this before on the show. Things ain't what they used to be, and we need to wake up on, not just wake up. And that's an old overused terminology. We need to confront. We need to confront the truth. That's what we need to do. Everybody sees the truth and runs like hell from it. It's like, oh, somebody's got a gun. Yeah, it's not the gun that's got me. It's the problem. It's the bullet that comes out of it. I want to be able to see it coming. So I can at least defend myself in some form or fashion. When we're looking at truth, you don't run from it. You learn from it. You develop some kind of understanding about what's happening, and then you can come up with the proper countermeasure that's required to neutralize what may befall you. Some things you can't do anything about, you try to get away from it. But in this situation, where are you going to go? The planet is being inundated in every part of it. And we're constantly being misdirected, misled, with different things like flat Earth, and everybody gets into a debate about if the Earth's flat, round, pegged, or squared. And my personal opinion on that is real simple. Who cares? Who cares? The thing is, we're here on the Earth. We're living on the planet. And we are being violated in this planet. I'm more concerned about the violations we are dealing with in this planet. And I am overly concerned about the fact that we've been infected, infested, afflicted with technologies that have, number one, never been tested on human subjects. I shouldn't say human subjects. Let me rephrase that. Not on human subjects, even human subjects, but on people, on mankind. We are releasing technologies as anti-man. Anti-man. We look at the transgender issues, the genetic damage that was done to people with the homosexual aspects of life, that has occurred, which is an unnatural phenomena. This was done on purpose. This was done to violate man and the genetics of man. And we need to start confronting this the way it's supposed to be confronted, because we'll never figure out or deal with what is required to get things back on keel. There's no way you can pacify a terminology or make it so-called politically correct and then it's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay to call something that it isn't. Back in the day, you called a spade, a shovel, a fiddle, a violin, that kind of thing. Fiddles and violin are the same thing, just a different terminology used in different parts of the country. But you get what I mean. Okay? Well, I'm going to say, oh, that's not a spade. That's a farming device. It's an earth removal device. So all of a sudden we pacify it, and so we don't get caught up with it, And facing the truth is an important, and it's imperative that we face the truth on these things. Like I said, you may not want to look at the truth, but I got news for you. If you don't look at the truth, you will never wake up. You will never be able to deal with what's going on, and you will be consumed and assimilated by this system, because that's what it's planning on doing. You know, I was watching, I don't know if you've seen the video. I should have got the link. But I was watching Sophia. They had her on some place in Europe or whatever. And they were asking Sophia all these questions. And she came up with all this new age horse hockey, you know. And she pointed out that anybody that eats meat, you know, would violate her or damage this machine. My humblest opinion about this machine needs a good dose of an EMP and a thermite explosive. That's where I stand on this thing. This is another thing that's going to corrupt people's concepts of reality. It's a machine. That's all it is. Nothing but a machine that's got an algorithm and a program that's connected to Facebook and some other things, and is spewing out all this rhetoric, getting people more confused and more deceived by the day. This is the beast at its infancy, if anybody wants to look at it. You know, you can look it up. Go look up. There's a thing she talks about it. She starts talking about people that eat meat and this and that. And I'm thinking, you know, some horse hockey, you know, that's being propagated. If you see these kind of things, you can bet your backside that this is about to violate. They're going to come up with ways to violate you further by programming you further into the thinking of the system, of the AI system, and to take you over. The music song In the Year 2525, there was another rendition I was watching the other day, and they went into some sort of a not drama, but an illustration about how all of a sudden men and women were losing their eyes, losing their limbs, because you didn't need your eyes because nobody was going to look at you, you know, and how you were going to pick your children from a long test tube, some kind of a test tube. You'll be pulling it out of a test tube. And if you haven't heard the song, you know, you might be a millennial, and you might be one of those few that are awake. You might want to go type in a YouTube link, In the Year 2525. You may find the actual one I'm talking about, where they start showing you how they started to dismember men and women into some kind of abomination. You didn't need this, you didn't need that, so they took it from you, or it became obsolete. And all that was left was DNA. And you know what? It is what's going on today. The whole concept of going after your DNA. I've been saying this for a long time. In order to be healthy in today's times, in order to be able to function in today's time, it is the utmost urgency that you protect your DNA, your mitochondria, your biology, period. It doesn't even have to go any further than that. Because if you don't, that's what they're going to take from you. That's what they're going to take from everybody. Because they need to feed the machine. Remember hearing that term? Feed the machine. Okay? Feed that machine. What are they going to feed the machine? DNA. Okay? If you go on my website, at the very bottom on the right corner, in the directory of content, there's a new link to federal guidelines for the future of computers and future of programming. And they're hitting it hard about the DNA. 2018, this year, we're coming up with a new AI system operating on DNA. And in that thing with Sophia, let me go back to that real quick. She talks about that when they evolve her, eventually you will not see her as a construct. She will now be able to go directly into your head. And she states this. Isn't that voice-to-head technology? All of a sudden, you're going to hear Sophia in your head, and you think God is talking to you. Oh, God is talking to me. Oh, God told me to go take a long walk off of a short dock with an anchor strapped around my neck, because it would be the greatest sacrifice I could do for God. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, it's an artificial intelligence telling you to turf yourself so they can extract your DNA. This is reality. This is where we're at today. And a lot of this is alien in all levels. Alien in all levels. And again, you can define alien any way you like. Demonic, fallen angels, Luciferian, satanic. Throw it in there any way you like. It's all one and the same. You know, semantics is what they divide us with. You know, oh, I don't believe in God, but this is definitely, you know, alien. Okay, it's for you, it's alien, but still satanic. And I keep telling everybody, maybe you should start reading or looking at the biblical truths. You know, when biblical truths, Vedic truths, Quranic truths in the Quran. There are all kinds of books out there, you know, holy books, and books, I shouldn't say holy books, books that people use to guide their lives. When you start investigating some of the literature in these books, it's not all about kill and hate and blood and all this. Some of it is talking about some things that are extraterrestrial in nature. And when they're all even the biblical, but the Bible is saying it too. It doesn't quite say it's an ET coming down here, but it does point out some things that makes you wonder, like, what is really going on here? And again, a lot of these biblical scholars, you know, and people that, you know, read their Bibles, they'll throw this scripture with that scripture and this scripture with that to justify their what they're defining. Heck, I can do the same thing. I can throw this verse with that verse and say I'm justified to kill everything on the planet. I mean, what the heck? You know, God doesn't like sin. He's going to wipe everything out. I mean, we can do that kind of thing, but that doesn't make it right, or is it accurate? So again, you know, my point is, it's there, and it's been right under our noses all this time, and we've just not seen it. You know, not just seen it. We're looking at a lot of different things, and when we're looking at these two videos I just sent to you, okay, this can be disarming and alarming, but now there's an answer. Ooh, there is an answer. Oh, yes, indeed. Now, I'm going to send you some other information in regard to some of the things we can do to get our plants back to normal and to give us the right kind of yield and genetics. Ooh, can you imagine that? The right kind of yield and the right kind of genetics. Ooh, can you dig it? Okay, I'm going to give you the link in the chat room. See, you guys in the chat room are getting it all good. You're getting it all today. Okay, this could be the answer to some of the problems that are plaguing us on a genetic level. Okay, let me get back to it real quick. Where'd I go? Aha! Impact of electric and magnetic field exposure on young plants in a review. They were using this stuff, electricity, since the 1700s to increase not only yield, but growth of the plants without the need of genetics, without the need of CRISPR. CRISPR and GMOs and GEs as weapons of mass destruction. I don't know why we went to Iraq when we got weapons of mass destruction going on right here in North America. It's called genetically engineering life. This is beyond belief. One of the most dangerous and silent killers going on the planet right now. None of the high expectations of genetically engineering life has ever proved fruitful. In fact, it was more counterproductive and caused more damage. But they're not going to quit it because they've got so much money tied into it. They're trying to get their return on their investment, and it is a pitiful failure. It has created in our societies people that have been genetically modified, genetically engineered, and transgenically changed because of the fooling around with genetics. I remember 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when a supplement came into the health food industry, if it could even affect your hormones, they would raise the red lights, and the bells would go off, and the whistles, woo, 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 danger, danger, Will Robinson, woo, kind of thing. Today, oh yeah, no big deal. Have a shot. Have some C60. Oh, what the hell? Have some hydrogen. Oh, it's okay. It's going to do you good. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, they'll fire a terahertz frequency, and these things amplify the damage that terahertz frequencies do. And again, where are the studies on people that they've tried to see if this works? I'm sure they've tried them, and I'm sure they've seen that, oh wait, this is not doing what we thought it was going to do with that, whatever. And even with the rat studies, they're so jaded. Like I said, I got 32 studies on in my site alone on that particular thing, and even the rat studies that they did, they found it didn't do what they said on the YouTube. It was just exact contrary. DNA damaged and destroyed their digestive system. Imagine that, having something put into your body, doesn't come out, again, interacts with your DNA and then attaches itself to your DNA, and now you are the perfect antenna. I can send and receive, I can amplify a frequency, and now I can control your bodily functions just by a frequency. Can you imagine that? What's that doing in people? Think about it. Anyway, I found that research on the electro, and I started reading it. I got about 5 or 6 different resources on this, and I haven't had a chance to really go through it all yet. But I decided, because I'm always talking about, and I hate like heck just to give you the crap side of things, because I mean we got enough to deal with, right? But we need to be prepared and understand this is what we are being assaulted with on a genetic level, on a chromosomal level, on a DNA level, and so we need to come up with a countermeasure. Well, since we are still going to eat, doesn't matter what, and this technology also worked on animals. They actually applied this to salmon, and the normal salmon, has a hook lip. The bottom lip has a hook. Well, the new and improved salmon doesn't. So they are actually able to revert the DNA back to normal. Now, and I thought to myself, this could possibly help us get back our DNA and get it back to normal. Whoa, can you dig that? Our DNA going back to being normal. Woo! Now see, that gets me all excited. My DNA coming back to being normal. I can maybe get rid of this crap out of my body and repair my DNA. Wow, that is something worth getting excited about. See, like I said, I will show you the crap hitting the fan, because we got to see that. You got to see the crap hitting the fan so we can make a proper judgment of either to avoid it or to neutralize it. Okay, this is what it's all about, making proper judgments. And not to condemn people, but to judge correctly what's going on around us and what could be affecting all of us. That's what we got to look at. So when I saw that part of it, I thought, oh man, this is so, yes indeed, here we go. We got something that we can work with. And this has been around for a while. Now you got to ask yourself this question. Oh, come on back. We'll ask the question when we come back. All right, see you in a bit. Hey, we're back. Hi. Hi, my name is Tony Pantalresco. You're listening to The Remedy on the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network. Anyway, before the break, I was going to say the question that comes to mind, why hasn't the USDA, the FDA, and the environmental protection agencies and so forth, why haven't they used this technology to make the plants healthier and more productive and produce more yield? Wow, more yield on top of it. Why isn't we are not using these things on the animals that we're trying to raise for our foods? Does that make you kind of wonder? Makes me wonder. Makes me wonder why are we using technologies that are not even tested? And how they rant and rave. Oh yeah, have you ever noticed I know I'm just one of those kind of guys that pay attention to certain things. It makes me kind of scratch my head sometimes. Have you ever kind of noticed how we're always told that these things are going to be they're going to solve the food shortage and the food crisis and the food distance, and it's going to solve the issues, and really, and it never seems to ever pan out. Now, they've thrown in a boatload of money into this thing. You perfect the weapon, and the universal weapon to be used is food. Bombs cost too much money. They cost way too much money. And chemical warfare also costs way too much money. But the one thing everybody does is they eat. Everybody eats. And all of a sudden we start breaking down, you're having health issues and all kinds of wonderful things. And you can't figure out why are we having these health issues? Now, I remember when I was growing up as a kid, we were getting the programming that, we were one of the greatest nations in the world. We had the most sophistication, most education. We have the highest scientific standards of the world. This is North America in general. And that's including Canada and the United States. And yet, we were supposed to outlive our parents. Our parents are reaching 80 years old, some of them, some 90. So that would mean our generation, those born in the 50s, would exceed their lifespan. Maybe by 10 years, maybe 15. Because we had all this sophistication. We had all this evolutionary, advancements. We were so far ahead of the curve that we were it. We were it. And yet not one health issue has ever been cured in that time frame. You ever thought about that? All this wonderful technology that we had, all these advancements in science, and yet none of it has been used to improve the standard of living for the citizenry of North America. In fact, it's been used as a weapon, or in fact, we have seen the decline as a result of this so-called high standards of whatever, rankings. Yeah, that's another thing. Why are we still using gasoline? And why is it that cars in the United States of America and Canada can only get about 30 or 40 miles, 30 miles to the gallon, probably tops, unless they're an import? And even the imports only are getting about 10 or 12 miles more to a gallon. Yet in Europe, a full-size car with a 6 or 8 cylinder is getting 80 miles to a gallon. Doesn't make you kind of wonder, why are we still using gasoline, of all things? See, these are things that we need to start reevaluating in our thinking. When there are things far better, and they had far things better back in the 1950s even. And this technology I'm talking about, back in the 1950s, they were already getting 100 miles to a gallon. We're talking back in 1950. Here we are in 2018, and we're only getting 30 miles to a gallon. What is wrong with this picture? And why are we still using an internal combustion engine that causes nothing but damage to the environment when we have had turbines that could recycle the water, steam turbines that were far more efficient, could get you the same efficiency, especially with what we know today. Why isn't that being used? No exhaust, no environmental damage. Wouldn't that also improve the standard of living? Makes you go, Now, I think I put in another link. I don't know if I did or not. Hold on. I'm going to put in, I don't know if I put this link in there or not in the chat room, but I'm going to, because I remember I was talking about that video with Leonard Nimoy and regarding In Search Of. It was called Pearl Harbor. Anyway, somebody sent me this today. It's the link. I'll read this to you. Give me a second. Some of you are going to get mad with this one too, but hey, what the heck? I'm on a roll. Let me piss everybody off. The British attack on Pearl Harbor. The British attack on Pearl Harbor. I just put the link in the chat room. You might want to take a look at that. See, I'm presenting these things in a way to illustrate how programming and manipulation can misguide a nation, can misguide a populace to do things they would never have done, but through deception and manipulation and programming are doing things that today are just incorrigible, are immoral. This is part of the Forbidden Fruit program. I call it the Forbidden Fruit program. That's the program that the serpent in the garden, or the virus in the garden, got Eve to download into her system, which then she downloaded into the mainframe, which was Adam, that caused this corruption. It was always done through subterfuge and deception. And so here's another thing I want you to look at. And again, you may not agree with this article or this data, this piece of data I found, but you may find that this illustrates how far back this goes, and we're not talking turn of the century, we're talking midway through it, how things were brought in to create the utopia we have today. I know we're all living under palm trees, nice summer breeze, sunshine, eating non-GMO or non-CRISPR contaminated foods. We're all living a moral, ethical, and spiritual life, because we got everything here to improve the standard of living. I have to laugh at this, sorry, because again, I've been around, I've seen the wonders of this utopian vision that was given to us back in the 60s and 70s, how things were going to be in the future. What was not illustrated was what it was going to cost us. What was the price of this utopia? It's incredible when you see this. It's incredible when you see this. And when you start thinking about technologies today, I have not seen too much come out today, mainstream-wise, that is showing that in any way, shape, or form, that it has any real benefit for us or to us. Okay, and again, this may sound cynical and may sound a little critical, but that's the way it is, The positive in all of this is once you see the truth, you embrace it, you understand it, you're confronted with it, then you can deal with it. And once we see what's going on in regard to how this so-called improved and new and improved concepts of this utopian ideals are, then you'll begin to understand that, this ain't all it's cracked up to being. And the more people wake up to this reality, and not this reality, to the reality that we're in right now, and quit trying to call something that it isn't, and seeing what it is, then you can start thinking of what can we do to do this? How can we do this? Will this work on that? We can then proceed to correct the damage or protect ourselves so we're not part of the utopian nightmare that they are promoting. That you're not being violated, your DNA is not being corrupted, your genetic code isn't being rewritten. These things, we need to basically, come up with solutions. The solution seeking individuals is the one who's awake. The one who's not awake doesn't know what's going on, thinks everything's all right in the world. Skies are really blue skies. Those aren't chemtrails, those are exhaust. Those are exhaust from an airplane. It's amazing when I hear and talk to people. Some of the things I hear them saying in the program that they're uttering, New Agers believing in some sort of celestial horse hockey, that they come from another, alien species, that they were put together on the planet to do whatever they're going to do on the planet, I don't know what's in their Kool-Aid, but they need to keep it. That could be wrong. When we're looking at, like I said, when we're looking at some things, okay, let me go back to the blue beam. We did that a couple of days ago. Let me point out, so I just found this today. I was working on it before the show. I didn't get it all the way through, but I'm going to give you just some of the highlights. Chemists discover how blue light from digital devices, that's including your cell phone computers and iPads and whatever you got, phone monitors, blue beams coming from headlights, speeds up blindness. That's why so many of us are having a hard time seeing, because this thing is wiping out our retina. Blue light from digital devices and the sun transform vital molecules in the eye's retina into cell killers. The sun is not emitting a yellow beam like it used to. That's being filtered. Because if you can't see what's coming at you, you're a lot easier to kill. It's just my perspective on this. We are being exposed to blue light continuously, and the eye's cornea and lens cannot block or reflect it. This is why I wear yellow lenses these days. It's no secret that blue light harms our vision by damaging the eye's retina. And the visual starts getting lost in persons between 50 and 60 years old. Because by the time you're 50 and 60 years old, you've accumulated so much crap inside your system that your body's immune system is also compromised, so it can't fight or repair itself like it used to. Is the death of the photoreceptor cells in the retina. The cells need molecules called retinol to sense light and trigger a cascade of signals to the brain. Photoreceptors are useless without retinol, which is produced in the eye. Ooh. And what did they do? They went and violated things like the tomato. They genetically engineered that too, and I think they even CRISPR'd that one. Why did they CRISPR that? Why did they genetically engineer the tomato? Because the lycopene in the tomato would keep the photoreceptors functioning. Whoa. You might want to get some seed, get some potting soil, and get that other thing that I just sent you with, electroculture or magnetoculture, and utilize it in order to keep the genetics in the tomato good, and so that when you eat that tomato and mix it with a little oil, sesame seed oil, almond oil, then it will give your eyes and the rest of your body as well the protection that's required to keep the eyes functioning. That's why I tell everybody to eat carrots, anything underground, because they will still be exposed to the nano coming from the sky, but they'll have less exposure. Okay, the plants above the ground fully covered. There's no escaping that. There's no way you can neutralize that unless you juice it and then filter it. And then if you do that, okay, let's say you take a carrot. I'm going to give you a suggestion here. I'm going to give you a remedy, a recipe. Let's say you get some carrot juice, okay? You got some carrot juice. You got a pound of carrots and you juice the carrots. Okay, we're cool. We just juiced a carrot. Now we're going to take that juice and we're going to filter it. We're going to put a teaspoon of peanut oil in there. We're going to blend it in the blender. Then we're going to let that separate. Oil and water don't mix, right? They separate. So you put that in the fridge in a bowl or in a jar or some glass container. And then after it separates, after about maybe a half hour, then you will take it, because then the oil will have congealed a little bit, keeping and containing those nanoparticles inside the oil. Then you're going to pour the carrot juice through a filter, whether it's a cloth filter or a coffee filter, whatever filter you want. And you're going to let it drain out slowly into another container. And now you're going to take that carrot juice and you're going to blend that with another oil, sesame seed oil, sunflower oil, grapeseed oil, almond oil, any kind of omega-6, or avocado oil. You can do that too, or grapeseed oil, which is, it's a 6, or avocado is a 9. And then you're going to put that, after you blend it, then you're going to put that in a small pot or frying pan, and you're going to heat it up low heat for about 5 minutes. Now you've got a super, super concentrated components and antioxidants of the carrot. The heat from the heating will actually amplify the antioxidant properties of the carrot. Some things like blueberries, blackberries, carrots, tomatoes actually need heat to activate the antioxidant properties of those plants. And this is one simple way of doing it. So now you've just made something that's better than whatever you're going to get at a health food. Because now you've controlled it from start to finish. You filtered it, you processed it with clean materials, and now you've got a clean supplement that you've made. They can now benefit not only the eyes, it also benefits the skin, it also benefits the kidneys, it also benefits the lungs. Can you dig it? It's right there, right before you, simplistic in its approach, and inexpensive. For even those of you on a fixed income, those of you who are poor, can do this. Don't use canola oil, don't use soybean oil, don't use vegetable oil. You can even do it in butter. You can take butter, heat it up, separate the cream from the butter. Now you have ghee. Okay. Take that ghee, which is the oil, right? Do the same thing. Mix it with some carrot juice, and then blend it up together, and then heat it lightly for about 1 or 2 minutes or 3 minutes. That's it. Don't burn it. Heat it up. It'll fuse with the oil, and now you can pour that into a jar or into a container, put it in the fridge. And you now have something that can help your system. If you want to preserve it for a longer period of time, you can add BHT to it. I'm not opposed to using small amounts of BHT. It's not going to give you cancer like they tell you, unless you're doing everything with BHT. If you're doing everything with BHT, it could cause you problems. Or if you're afraid of BHT, which is okay, go get the essential oil of rosemary and sage. Put 1 or 2 drops in your mixture. You can and then while it's still warm, mix it up really well, and it'll provide the antioxidant properties to keep the fats from going rancid or to slow the rancidity down. And now you have a super supplement, because not only do you have the carrot juice and the oil, you've added the essential oils to it. Wow! You got a brain formula, you got a skin formula, you got an eye formula, you got a kidney formula, you got a respiratory formula, all in one. Wow. Yeah, cooking, not the carrots so much, Gia. You gotta separate the, you can peel off a lot of that, but if you take a scope and you look at the carrot, even after you peel it, you're going to see it's going to be loaded with metallics. Like I said, even though it's below the ground, it's still going to be subjected to some exposure. Not like the green leaves above. Like if you were looking at chard, or kale, or collard greens, or lettuce, or cabbage, or anything that's got a broad leafy vegetable up on the surface, it is super saturated with metal. There's no way you can eat that without having some kind of side effect. The carrot may still have some. If you cut the carrot and cut it in fours, split it in 4, cut it in half, look at the center. You're going to probably see metallics there as well. This stuff is nano. Okay, get this in your head. This is nano. This is not some big chunk of metal. This is tiny, tiny little nanoparticles. They're a billionth of a meter, and they saturate everything. 1 to 50 nanometers goes through everything. Now, where the filtering process comes in is the density of the soil, how deep you plant them, which will offset the loading. Now, if you're growing them inside the home, even there you may want to put some kind of bubble over them, because the nanoparticles are in the air. After you watch that video I just sent you, you're going to reevaluate what you think is safe. You're going to reevaluate what is going on, and how we need to build little miniature greenhouses or little cubicles inside of our homes to start growing these things. And like I said, that electroculture I just sent you guys, and again, you can do some more research on it. I got like about 4 or 5 things I got to go through. This is going to go a long way in getting your DNA back. Okay, before I go on, I'm always talking about the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network, another free radical site. You support them any way you can, give them what you can, help them. Like I stated before, don't ask what your activists can do for you. Ask what you can do for your activists. Help them keep afloat. You got Brian396.com. You got ByeByeBlueSky.com. You got GagCanada.com. You got AugmentInforce.com. These are sites you want to go and look at to see what we're dealing with. Some more information that's going to go a long way in keeping you healthy. Okay. On ByeByeBlueSky.com, click on the health link, look at the nanomorgellons link, and then you can see the nano in the food and look at it, confront it. Don't fear it, see it, and then you can countermeasure it. So again, Starfire, I already did a video on this. Go look it up. It's on the YouTube. You can also go to GAG Canada. Brian396 has got a ton of information as well on the nano subject and solutions. Go check out his stuff. At Augment and Force, I've got all kinds of nano information there too. I've got the information on the terahertz, C60, and the protocols of the government for the AI systems. Check them out. Look at them. It's to your advantage that you study them. There's also a catalog link there. Feel free to access the catalog. And again, see what's there. If there's something that might be interested. There are things I do on the YouTube that are not listed in the catalog. I also do as well. So feel free to check them out. You can contact me through the email independence@yahoo.com or 519-977-5351. Onions the same way. Well, if a carrot can get exposed, don't you think the onions can as well? It's a concept. Might want to think about it for a minute. Anything going below the ground is going to be minimized. Minimized, not absolved. There's a difference. Okay. Anything growing above the ground is going to be saturated. Okay. So when we're looking at anything growing on the ground, cut it open. Get a 60x scope. Put it under a microscope. You are going to be amazed at the technology that's in your food. After watching that video I just sent you, like I said, look at it, confront it, deal with it. Okay, don't run from it. There's no place to run. Number one, we're in a place now in life where there is no compromise. Either you do and you deal with the issues, or you don't and you get assimilated. That's all there is to it. You're either going to stand for the truth and face the repercussions in that, or you're going to not. You're going to go with the other way and be assimilated. When we're looking at all the things that we're dealing with today, there's no place to run. There's no place to hide. I get questions all the time. Is there any country in the world that's safe to go to? What makes you think you're going to be able to get to that country? If they've been raping Africa and they've been violating and all the countries in the world, Australia, New Zealand is supposed to have the organics of the planet, and they're being violated with this technology. There's no place you're going to really be able to go. So again, when we're looking at some of the things that you can, that we have today, it's time to confront, deal, come up with solutions. When we're looking at what we can do, there's lots we can do. We just got to start sitting there thinking about it, okay? And again, I just gave you a simple solution. This can also be applied to tomatoes, but I would suggest with the tomato, okay, you start looking at growing your own indoors. Give them the right environment, the right heat, put the right nutrients in, away you go. So look at what we're dealing with today, okay? You got to face this. You got to see it for what it is. Even the herbs we're using today are being corrupted by this technology. This is why they don't work like they used to. When we're looking at some of the stuff that, again, okay, let me try this again. When we're dealing with food, anything above the ground, anything, is going to have exposure. You need to go to augmentandforce.com and understand the nature of nano. Okay, it is so small it penetrates everything. If you go into your garden and you see this white stuff, all the silvery shiny stuff all over your food supply, if it's on the surface, it's inside the food. Doesn't matter how thick the skin is, whether it's pumpkin, watermelon, muskmelon, cantaloupe, cucumber, it will penetrate. So you're going to have to learn ways and means, again, to disable that or neutralize it. Watermelon, you can do the same thing. You can juice the watermelon because it does have lycopene in it. Doesn't have a lot, but it does have it in it. You can filter it the same way with the oil, and then you can heat it up in an oil to extrapolate the lycopene in it and make it more powerful. So this is how we have to deal with things today. With soil, if you got things indoors, you got to feed that soil. You got to neutralize these materials in the soil. I mean, There are ways to do this. Okay, I just sent you the link. You know, the electroculture. Go read. Go and read. Okay, don't just, you know, and run away. Read. There's answers there. Okay, and this can help all of us. And this is where getting together and, you know, collaborating with ideas comes a long way. So this is why it's so important that, again, you understand what we're dealing with. Face it, deal with it, come up with a solution. This is seriously what you have to do. I mean, where else are you going to go? Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. No, it's a plane. No, it's a line in the sky. Loaded with nanobiology. You know, having hydrogel technology and liposome technology. Coming down on the earth. Coating the planet with alien tech. Because it is alien. It's anti-man. Okay, anti-man. Okay, because we are of the species of mankind. And this is why we're being assaulted today the way we are. And this is something you have to consider. This is a real down-to-earth invasion. This does not this shouldn't be happening on this planet. Why is it happening? You know, that's what we're dealing with today. You know, what happened? I was hearing something. Are we still here? Hello, hello. Give me a second. Hopefully you guys can still hear me, because I'm not sure if you can or not. Oh, there you are. I hear the scratching. Okay, cool. All right, so deal with it. Yeah. Okay. We here? Okay. Deal with that stuff. Come up with solutions. Figure out what to do. Okay. It can be done. It can be done. Okay. Check it out. Do it. Do it. You can do it. I'm hearing all kinds of things now. Must be the aliens. All right. Check out the links. Check out the sites. Check out everything. Read it. Download it. Utilize it. Test it. Figure it out. Work with other people. Collaborate. You won't go wrong doing this. Okay, I think we're done. Are we done? Hello? Okay. Some men are not kind. Okay. All right, I think we're... Something's going on here. Anyway, I think my time is up anyway, so I'm going to let you guys go. Look at the research. Check it out. I can't help but emphasize that. Check it out. All right. See you next week. Take care. Come up with answers.